The vastness of our universe and the space surrounding us leaves scientists with countless questions. They are constantly attempting to delve further into the unknown expanse that stretches endlessly past our atmosphere and discover what lies beyond the realm of our understanding. Since the Large Hadron Collider first started up on September 10, 2008, it's been at the center of many incredible discoveries, with those around the world questioning the true nature of this giant machine. Just recently, someone was live streaming above the Large Hadron Collider when they noticed something strange. They described the object in question as being a set of stationary lights, saying that they didn't move, were hovering above the Large Hadron Collider complex, and that every so often each of the lights would turn on and off, but said that not at any point did they descend in elevation, and describing the object as being in the shape of a triangle or a boomerang. As the live stream continued, it started to gain traction, as thousands of people flooded in to see what this thing was, while at the same time putting forward their own theories in order to explain it. The individual was there for over an hour, recording the whole thing. Oddly enough, those who live close to the region have long said that strange lights and weather phenomena have been recorded above the complex, and that these strange lights don't match things like planes and helicopters. One person said the following about the strange lights. "This is a little ominous, isn't it? There's a huge triangular-shaped object hovering above the Large Hadron Collider, while lightning is surrounding it. It's like a scene from a movie." End quote. One of the strangest things about this event was how the object just stayed in the same position for all of the live stream, with some of the viewers asking how it could have done this. The strange object was made up of 4 lights that would occasionally turn on and off. At this moment in time, the size of this craft is not known, but some have guessed that it's anywhere from 40 feet to hundreds of feet in length. Another user has said that residents keep reporting strange openings in the sky, describing them as looking like portals, and oddly enough, in some instances, witnesses have reported seeing strange objects flying out of these openings, only to fly off at incredible speeds. During the last few years, there's been a wide range of reports featuring sightings of glowing objects that don't appear to match anything in the area. Some described these objects as looking like glowing orbs, while others called them green fireballs, and said that they demonstrated a form of intelligence in their evasive maneuvering and flight patterns. One of the first known reports surrounding these strange aircrafts was made back in 2010. According to the report, a civilian airplane, alongside a nearby military airplane, both reported what they described as a bright green fireball passing nearby as they were flying over the area. The 2 pilots were quoted as describing the fireballs as a huge green meteor and a green ball of fire with no physical dimensions or outlines. Residents backed up these claims and noted that strange objects could be seen traveling across the sky, but after investigations were carried out, the first report was dismissed, saying that the most likely explanation for this sighting was that of a meteor burning up in the lower atmosphere, with a possible chemical composition of copper chloride, a compound commonly known for burning a bright green under natural conditions. Oddly enough, only a few days after this first sighting, locals in the area would go on to report that portals started opening up in the sky and that strange objects could be seen flying out of them. Although this sounds like a completely fabricated story, a very similar report has been made at the Skinwalker Ranch, which can be found in the United States. One user detailed the following encounter. In 2010, a group of us saw a bright light in the sky that appeared to be an opening of sorts. At first, we thought that it may have been a new kind of technology that was testing out company logos in the sky. But as we were watching this strange spiral in the sky, an object then flew out of it. After around 10 seconds, the strange spiral closed, and the object that flew out of it was nowhere to be seen. We all just stood there questioning what we had just witnessed. End quote. Pilots in the area have described the aircrafts they've witnessed as displaying intelligent and erratic movements, and appeared to contain no physical outlines of any kind. Realizing that something far more unnatural was occurring, this second sighting would cause more people in the area to take notice of these strange aircrafts. Oddly enough, only 12 days following the prior incident, an astronomer working at the University of New Mexico claimed to have spotted several of these objects that had been reported. When observing the unexplainable lights, the astronomer studied their paths and emissions and gathered a significant amount of information before writing to the United States Air Force. The astronomer's letter detailed these objects, and they said to the United States military that the lights were not typical of meteor behavior and must be a form of intelligent aerial craft. As of right now, these sightings have been dismissed as being planes, meteorites, or space debris burning up in the atmosphere. Although these bizarre sightings have been massively downplayed by military officials, those living in the region have said they don't buy this explanation and said that something strange is happening above this area. The European Council for Nuclear Research said the following on their website. The creation of black holes at the Large Hadron Collider is very unlikely. However, some theories suggest that the formation of tiny quantum black holes may be possible. The observation of such an event would be thrilling in terms of our understanding of the universe. The creation of a quantum black hole at the Large Hadron Collider would be very surprising, but very exciting indeed. It would allow physicists to learn about nature's most elusive force, gravity. The creation of a black hole at the Large Hadron Collider would confirm theories that our universe is not four-dimensional, but indeed hosts other dimensions. It would be quite a spectacular philosophical outcome. In the same way that the theory of relativity or of quantum mechanics revolutionized our way of thinking, discovering the existence of extra dimensions would be a major new milestone in our understanding of the universe. There is no obvious application for knowing this. Many people will start speculating about using these extra dimensions for space and time travel, or as a source of clean energy, and who knows what else. End quote. Interestingly, these triangular-shaped aircrafts haven't just been seen above the Large Hadron Collider. For years now, they've been reported in pretty much every country around the world. What they are, though, is still heavily debated. Some argue that these crafts are part of the latest stealth fleet of either the United States or United Kingdom's military, while some users have questioned how we would have such a thing. Another thing that's been picked up on by amateur researchers is how these aircrafts are never usually seen during the daytime. Although there have been a few photographs taken during the day, it still hasn't helped us to come to a definitive answer for what these things are, along with how they are able to achieve some of the things that they do. There have been around 4,000 reports of these triangles since 1990 in the United Kingdom alone. There have also been waves of triangle sightings in Belgium, France, Holland, and Germany. According to databases that keep track of mysterious aircrafts, the Black Triangle is one of the most commonly sighted crafts that gets reported by eyewitnesses, and most of the people who have seen these crafts describe the same thing: a dark black triangle hovering silently in the sky. Mr. McGrillen, a media journalist, has said that United States officials have in their possession a clear photograph of one of these black triangles rising out of the ocean, saying that insiders are aware of this photograph, as they have gone on record about it, saying that the craft was captured back in 2019 by a pilot. Mr. McGrillen said the following: "It could be a key piece of evidence, demonstrating that we are truly in the presence of some other intelligence." End quote. At the time, the pilot was flying in a Super Hornet. The photograph in question was captured by equipment on board the Super Hornet, which is one of the reasons why it hasn't been released to the public, with insiders noting that the photograph is still locked up with United States officials, who don't talk about it, and who've said likely won't be releasing it anytime in the near future. Those who've seen the photograph have said that it was captured by the pilot off the east coast of the United States, and describe it as looking like a giant black triangle with blunted edges and having spherical white lights on each of the corners. Tom Rogan, the national security writer for the Washington Examiner, has come forward and said that the photograph does exist after being told about it from insiders. He said the following: "It's the tip of the iceberg, but we will see more leaks of mysterious flying aircraft imagery and data in the coming years. United States officials should get ahead of the curve and officially release more material." End quote. It's for this reason that some have said that these mysterious black triangles don't belong to us, noting that if they aren't willing to even share a photograph or talk about it, then it's likely that these things are coming from an outside source. Some online users have said that it's strange because in the last few years, we've basically been told that many of these crafts are actually seen out in the oceans, and this has caused some to put forward their own theories for why this is. For years now, people have said they've seen strange objects flying in and out of the oceans, with many dismissing these claims as nothing more than made-up stories, but with insiders now admitting that many of these crafts have been seen in our oceans by United States officials and the military, it's only caused more questions to be put forward, including who do they belong to? Why are they more commonly seen out in the oceans? What's out there that's causing them to fly miles out to sea? Why aren't these photographs being released? And ultimately, where are they coming from? Back in November 2022, scientists revealed that a large object was detected entering the ocean, noting that underwater trackers picked up on the object and immediately sent out a warning message to scientists. According to official sources, it crossed La Palma and passed through Gran Canaria before entering the ocean. The noises generated by the splash triggered alarm systems nearby, where at first scientists thought it was a landslide. After further examination, it turned out that the object had come from space. Oddly enough, while this was happening, a fire was reported in the area, which researchers said was due to the impact of the object. Interestingly, cameras detected a bright object entering the ocean, while residents who witnessed the event said that it left behind a trail of smoke. Just after the object hit the ocean, dozens of people called the emergency services, detailing that something had crash-landed, and that the object must have been big, as residents reported feeling tremors. The tremors have yet to be identified, although scientists have said that it was most likely caused by the object hitting the ocean. One user said the following: "I do not know the origin, but the tremor was quite big. It didn't just affect the windows, but also the floor and walls, and in the background was a sound that was like a distant explosion." End quote. The National Geographic Institute has announced that they've registered the shock, but still does not specify the origin. This isn't the only interesting object to have been detected entering the ocean. On the 8th of January, 2014, something incredible and almost unbelievable happened. A small celestial object belonging to another star system crashed into the Pacific Ocean. There are no known witnesses confirmed to have seen the crash. Amir Siraj, who is an astrophysicist at Harvard University and has been studying this object since it was first discovered, confirmed that it indeed very likely originated from an interstellar location in May 2022. The reasoning behind these estimations has to do with the speed with which this meteorite traveled throughout space to land on Earth. It was traveling at 37.2 miles per second, or 60 kilometers per second relative to the Sun, which is too fast for any object belonging to our solar system, which would be bound to the Sun's gravity to at least some extent, and therefore travel at a slower rate. Now, Siraj and his colleagues are gearing up to do what has never been done before. Not only are they going to dive into the deep waters of the ocean to retrieve fragments of the object, but should their mission be successful, they will be the first to ever examine an interstellar object so closely. The operation is meant to be undertaken with the use of a magnetic sled the size of a king-sized bed on a long-line winch. The hope is that tiny fragments of the object will be attracted to the magnet and caught. However, this expedition is estimated to cost $1.6 million. For now, we will have to wait until further investigations have been conducted. First detection of sugars in meteorites. Our world is essentially made of a number of building blocks, elements and compounds important to life, important to environments, and important to developing worlds as we can recognize them today. In 2019, a new compound key to forming life was found within a meteorite. A team of international researchers uncovered sugars that are necessary in sustaining life inside of a meteorite. This has added some evidence to the existing theory that the chemical reactions that take place inside of asteroids can help to form some biologically important compounds crucial to life as we know it. An asteroid is oftentimes the ancestor of meteorites, being their parent body. This means that if that theory is in fact true, then the meteorites showering ancient Earth so often may be a key element to the origin of life on Earth that we have been missing. The research team uncovered ribose, arabinose, xylose, and several other biologically essential sugars. These compounds were spread over 2 different meteorites, both rich in carbon. It's worth noting that these do have specific biological functions and roles. Ribose is a necessary component of RNA, ribonucleic acid. RNA functions as a messenger molecule, meaning that it copies the genetic instructions from the DNA before transferring the information to the relevant ribosomes. This sounds incredibly complex, but the key takeaway from this is that the sugars found
serve a biological purpose, fueling the theory that important elements that help to form life could come from inside these meteorites and asteroids. This is not the first time that important building blocks that help to form life have been seen within meteorites, hence the theory already having a good amount of weight behind it. Before this 2019 study, researchers had already found amino acids which form proteins and nucleobases which form DNA and RNA. Yoshihiro Furukawa, a researcher at Tohoku University in Japan and the lead author of the study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, explained that the sugars had been a big piece of the puzzle that was missing, limiting how convincing this theory was in the past. When commenting on the significance of this finding, he said, "The research provides the first direct evidence of ribose in space and the delivery of the sugar to Earth. The extraterrestrial sugar might have contributed to the formation of RNA on the prebiotic Earth, which possibly led to the origin of life. In terms of conducting this research, it's an impressive achievement that a fragile molecule such as ribose could even still be detected and found within ancient materials. Now, this knowledge can be applied as further samples undergo their analysis." A much less thrilling explanation is that these compounds arrived in the meteorites after their arrival on Earth. It goes without saying that there is plenty of life here on Earth, so there is the possibility that these meteorites became contaminated with terrestrial compounds after their arrival. The next steps here are to analyze a greater number of meteorites to try and observe the extraterrestrial sugars and gauge their abundance. This work is far from completion, though the prospect that the necessary components for life came to Earth from elsewhere does leave the possibility that those same building blocks arrived on other planets as well. Astronomers find huge, previously unknown cluster of stars. The Milky Way is a hot topic for conversation in the world of recent discoveries. Not only has it been bested by an orphan cloud, but astronomers have now uncovered a huge cluster of stars at the center of our galaxy. Labeled an ancient stellar population, astronomers believe the cluster was once a globular cluster in our galaxy, which over time migrated towards the center of the Milky Way to where it was then discovered. The center of the Milky Way is in fact quite densely populated with stars, with a higher concentration of them than most other parts of the universe, making the location of the find perhaps not all that surprising. More specifically, it contains 20 million stars spread across a distance of 26 light-years. Interestingly though, the very center of the Milky Way was only discovered last century, and so while it's relatively close to home, a mere 25,000 light-years away from Earth, we are still in the process of uncovering huge amounts of information about this region. Not only is it a relatively recent discovery in itself, let alone this new cluster of stars, but a lot of research had since been focused on the massive black hole which also lies at the center of the Milky Way. Back to our newly found giant cluster of stars, it is thought that the cluster is only about 7,000 light-years away from Earth and is also roughly 75 million years old, so middle-aged when it comes to stars. Although only discovered in 2020, the brightness of the stars within this cluster, called Valparaiso 1, is so intense that you can observe them with a telescope from Earth, in your back garden, for example, somewhere near to the Sagittarius constellation. This makes the lateness of the discovery even stranger, as it is a well-observed and well-charted part of the night sky. Astronomers have since explained that owing to the distances of stars in the Milky Way and neighboring galactic orbits, it can sometimes be more difficult than one may think to observe clusters at the center of the Milky Way. Still, Valparaiso 1 is estimated to contain approximately 10,000 solar masses within its cluster, meaning it is not all that small, and so astronomers do admit that it going under the radar for so long is puzzling. With clusters of 10,000 stars being discovered so close to home, at the very heart of the Milky Way, a well-researched area, who knows what else is out there, both near and far from us, waiting to be discovered. But what do you make of these recent discoveries? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.